groups. And we had 4 very vibrant. I went around to all the working groups. The discussion was intense. It was really interactive. And this is really part of the heart of the Africa Conference, that moment when we are able to talk and share and gain knowledge about the experiences coming from across the continent. So, we ended our day there. Some people went and got energy from the walk this morning. So we have one thing left to do, which is to hear back from the groups. So I'm going to invite the rapporteurs of the different groups to come up one by one so that we can hear. You just have 5 minutes each. We want to hear the essence of your conversation. We had very good rapporteurs in the groups, so do not worry, the full conversation has been captured for documentation. Here we want you to give us the highlights. I see State Capture is already, she's out of her seat, so let me take her. First, welcome on stage, Arinola. Yes, please give her a hand. No, you guys are, while I hand you the microphone.
Okay. Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Arinola Oloko. So, Group 1, our theme was Breaking State Capture, Rebuilding Trust. So I'm going to just give a bit of a background and I go. You know, the African Conference 2024 affirmed the importance of value-based leadership and citizen engagement in driving systematic change. Now, this discussion built on that, and as a result of our discussion, we came to key findings. The first one was key factors of state capture. We talked about capture of culture, and in that culture, we talked about division through tribe. That's one of the things that they use in capturing us. Divisions through tribes, religion, class. We talked about, so we're talking about key factors now. Electoral manipulation, illicit funding, where even the police services, the security services are not paid enough, and they are accessible, they are bribed and things can happen. Vote buying, and that weaponized poverty. The poverty is weaponized so that they can manipulate the election process. Executive outreach. One of the key factors of state capture was excessive presidential powers over appointments. For instance, the presidential powers over appointing the INEC chairman, the AFCC chairman, the judiciary as well. So they, we talked about that. That was something that we had to look into. Weak institutions, judiciary and legislature that are compromised, media ownership concentrated by a few, and so that they direct the narrative. Then we looked at something people said that was very, very profound, was citizen deficit, that there are a lot of people that lack the character, capacity, and competence, both in leadership and in fellowship. So that it's not just the leaders that we're attacking, but we ourselves, we need to look inwards as well. So the next thing we did was sustainable measures to break state capture. We said citizen data platforms. We should deploy citizens reporting tools and transparent data systems. For instance, Mr. Emmanuel gave us an example in Ghana, for instance, during the elections. So the opposition party will go and monitor the results and check the results from the other party and vice versa. So they were all marking each other. So that way, they were more interested in making sure that the process was right and was complete. So that's something we can look into. We can study that a bit more and see what we can do with that. Institutional independence, strengthen the judiciary, press, legislature, and anti-graft agencies. Cultural renewal, transform culture into a unifying opportunity, not a tool for division. A lot of people went on about that if we stand in unity, that if we do not let our differences cloud our judgment, then we will be better, because we'll be speaking with one voice, we'll be speaking about one good. social economic freedom, reduce deprivation, empower citizens economically to resist manipulation, democratic process integrity, electoral reforms, fair appointment systems, and accountability mechanisms. Those are the things that we said that we need to put in place that can be sustained over the years. So one of the questions asked us about actions by key actors. So citizen movement, the Gen Z leadership and grassroots organizing, civic education at all levels. Everybody thought that civic education should not just be in schools. It should start with the family, the community, and then schools as well. Intergenerational dialogue, elders as allies. A lot of people thought the youth, the Gen Zs were not people that they could speak to, that they were doing their own thing by themselves. But what we said was that, look, if the Gen Zs are doing things, you as adults, as elders in the community, can help steer them in the right direction. Whistleblower protection and recognition. This is the key actors for citizen movement. Political parties is the next one, key actor. Consensus on non-negotiable values. We believe that if every party has that belief that what they are doing is for the good of the people, if there's equity, fairness, and the good of people in mind, then we will achieve a lot. Party reforms, inclusivity, transparency, women's transport, representation, common national agenda beyond party affiliation. Mr. Emmanuel gave us an example again in Ghana. He said everything, when we said, oh, that parties are compromised, and he said, no, that it doesn't happen there, that they all have one goal, one belief, and that belief is to see a good Ghana, to see a system that works. So if we all stand with one good, one common attribute, is citizen data and accountability platforms, that we should put up citizens data and accountability platforms, build transparent citizen reporting system, where elections can be reported on, governance and public spending, train communities to gather and verify data, create open dashboard for citizens oversight. That once we have citizen oversight, that would help a bit. Next thing was civic education and values orientation. Continuous civic and voter education embedded in schools, faith, communities, and civil spaces. Partner with National Orientation Agency to reorient national values. The national values we think are very important, and that we need to go back to the grassroots and see how we can go back to the beginning, where those values that we were taught remain in our minds. Promote unity, patriotism, and service, creating a new generation, a new Gen Z culture. Then last one was institutional reform advocacy, push for constitutional reform. We looked at the constitution, said there's nowhere in the constitution that says that the president cannot appoint those people, INEC chairman, judiciary and all that. So that we need to look at how that can be dealt with, and that will only happen through a constitutional reform. Establish citizens' oversight in judicial and legislative process, strengthen independent media, protect whistleblowers, and enforce accountability. To dismantle state capture sustainability, Africa must combine citizen vigilance, cultural renewal, and institutional reforms. Those are the three things that we think is necessary. A collective commitment when citizens unite with shared values and transparency and hold leaders accountable. Then and then alone can we build a democratic system that serves the people with integrity and equity. Thank you.
Wow, great from the state capture group. Can you please give them another big hand? We really heard three key things, three big ideas. One, we need citizens to engage, and that has come from the panels into the working groups. Citizens need to engage. Number two is that this is about values and principles. We have to develop them, we have to communicate them, we have to share them. And that is what can transcend the divisions of ethnicity, the divisions of religion, and so on. It is shared values and shared principles. And third is that it has to concretize into reform. We have to have constitutions, laws, processes that actually reflect this. And I really liked the fact that they identified on these three key ideas concrete action. They said we need to do citizen data and reporting for accountability. So we have to build open data systems. I think we are talking there to our IT professionals who were on the panel yesterday. We need these open data systems so that citizens can engage and can report. They said civic education. I'm very surprised, I can tell you, that elections in Cameroon are in 10 days' time, and we held a workshop with the political parties who are going for election. We wanted to we are not going, but we have wanted to give them our experience. Many of them did not know how the voting process occurs. These are the parties who are going to compete. They did not know exactly how the voting process occurs. So it's very, very important that we give civic education. A voter should know, when I get into the polling station, what do I do? Where do I go? What do I need to watch out for? Because people are manipulated right inside the polling station. So civic education, and then advocacy for reform. So they came out with 3 very concrete actions based on the big ideas that they developed. Thank you so, so much. Let us now move to another group. Do I see another rapporteur who is ready? Yes, ma'am. Ready here, about protecting activists' rights and protection. Please give her a hand as she comes up.
Good morning, all. The convener, Dr. Obi Ezekwesili, the chairman of Fixed Politics, all the distinguished and engaged activists in the room. My name is Bolu Onobolu. I am representing Group 4, who were asked to deal with the topic protecting democracy activists and leaders. And oh yes, yes, and I am a graduate of SPPG 2024. Sorry? Oh, well, a few things after SPPG. I was appointed, okay, before SPPG? Oh. Okay, before SPPG, I have been in the UN space for over 10 years, working nationally and internationally, using water supply and sanitation as my entry point into activism. I currently am the president of the network of female professionals in WASH in Nigeria, and I also convene a group called Mothers United and Mobilized to advocate and amplify the issues of youth disempowerment in the country. And since SPPG, I have been appointed as the chairperson of the Regional Consultative Council on Water Resource Management of the ECOWAS. Our topic, protecting democracy activists and leaders. And in my group, I stressed that we shouldn't forget the leaders who also are trying to push back on corruption. We were so privileged to have as resource persons in our group Miss Bergeline Domo of Stand Up Cameroon and Mr. Suleiman Draugo. I saw that he was looking, waiting if I would pronounce his name well, and the group was co-facilitated by another SPPG 2024 graduate, Adeshola Yakub. We also had very engaged group members. Maybe at the end, if I have the time, I would ask them to stand up, because they did make our job very easy with the value addition that they gave. So in terms of the background, we used the July 2025 quarterly convening and what the resource persons contributed to establish, I would say, 5 basic pillars for our deliberations. First, that leaders and democracy activists who want to combat corruption and authoritarianism face increasing dangers and death in Africa. That the cost of corruption and disregard for the rule of law is high. We used various data, but we also said that the former president, every citizen, you and I, in terms of lost opportunities, in terms of poverty of energy, water, health, education, and security. Consequently, we said silence or non-resistance is therefore not an option for anyone, because to protect activists and to protest is actually to protect democracy and yourself and myself. And so, you know, to our deliberations, the question was, what protective measures can be taken to ensure that activists and leaders can effectively and sustainably realize the efforts that they are making? Because if they are cut short, if they are detained, then they cannot do their work, and it affects all of us. So the questions in terms of the group deliberations: what are the risks faced? What are the gaps? And what are the actions that can be taken? We itemized the risks across Africa: mental and physical injury, death, imprisonment, income loss, loss of opportunities because you are targeted, exile, and Ms. Bergeline mentioned one that might be interesting, even more interesting to all of us: denaturalization, where authoritarian leaders are actually stripping citizens of their citizenship. So then we came up with the strategic actions around 3 pillars. We said there is a need. The first one, there is a need to strengthen legal protection. And we gave examples: the advocating for the enforcement of constitutional rights, the freedom of speech, freedom to protest, freedom to associate. We also talked about the enforcement of acts like the Whistleblower Act and Protected Disclosure Acts. Then the second strategic action was scale up digital security mechanisms. And some of the examples and the actions, sub-actions we mentioned was, we need to train activists and their network around, you know, how to utilize end-to-end encryption like WhatsApp, Signal, for communication and data protection. They need to be trained. They need to be trained on digital security, they and their network, to intercept, avoid detection, and even use the surveillance mechanisms to identify their adversaries and escape these detections, like the VPN, Virtual Private Network. We need to scale up digital security to speed up protected information exchange. And then Monsieur Suleiman, in addition to what he mentioned, also talked about establishing early warning systems. We can use digital security for this. And also our group talked about the use, of digital methods to mobilize funds quickly. So 2 strategic actions. The third one is 3A, facilitate collective care at a national level. And this includes establishing, strengthening multi-sectoral network of activists. This was stressed by Madame Bergelin, and she explained to us that in her work, she has had to call on lawyers who are activists, doctors who are activists, mental health experts who are activists. So she really stressed the importance of this, the multi-sectoral network, and also building the capacity of these activists and the populace in terms of nonviolent resistance, the issue of divide and rule tactics, digital security, and some of those issues. I think I have just 2 more minutes left. 1 minute, okay then. I am going to speed up. So in terms of collective care, the issue of mobilizing the grassroots movements, and when we're saying grassroots, I think that we should not just think of the rural people, the middle class. Quite a number of them have disengaged, and I call them the opposition to the opposition. They are the ones that say things like, that person cannot enter. Oh, they won't let him enter. The opposition to the opposition. So we need to mobilize them and engage them, establishing funding mechanisms. And then the third one, in terms of strategic actions, is also facilitating collective care regionally and internationally. So using international declarations and acts. So for example, facilitating one which really protects the birthrights of citizenship of activists. Also establishing safe havens, which is also called Caribou, identifying which countries can provide safe havens and identities for people who are fleeing. The importance also of advocating for the rights internationally, regionally, and using democratic sanctions, travel bans was also one of the things that we said. In conclusion, we said not protesting and protecting activists and leaders, it's not an option. It is affecting you, us, and the children's future. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Bolu. Can you please give her a big hand? Thank you so much. I think this group had a tough job, because the thing that is holding African citizens back, let us not hide our faces, is fear. People know what they want, as we have established. They know what should be done. They want to act. Even the ones who are opposition to the opposition, they are just hiding their fear. because they know that something must be done. They feel like, oh, how do I explain that I'm not doing anything? So they come up with excuses. Oh, it will never work. Oh, this one, that. So fear. And this group was confronting fear, because not acting is not an option. As tough as it is, yes, not acting is not an option. So, since we must act, this is a quote from an African-American poet called Haki Madhubuti. He says, run towards fear. Run towards fear. You know that there is fear there. Go towards it, unpack it. What is making me afraid? What is making me unable to act? And once we start unpacking it, we can find solutions to protect ourselves, to protect activists, to protect all of these people. I say this as somebody, I have been kidnapped by my government. I have been arrested by my government. I have been beaten by my government. When we began as a movement to say, we're not just going to let this happen to us, let's sit down and figure it out. How do we protest without getting arrested? How do we, once somebody is arrested, let's train people on what to do. We have a 15-minute rule in Stand Up for Cameroon. 15 minutes. If we get arrested, the international press must be talking about us in 15 minutes. We must be organized. Yes. And we use our networks for that. Now, Africa Conference is one of the networks we'll be using. So when you see our message to say, make noise for Cameroon, make noise. So this group did a tremendous job with that. Strengthen legal protections. You must always demand that the government respect the law. Always. And this is part of courage. Because you are standing on the law, you can face anybody, a minister, a president, whoever. You can stand in front of them and say, my friend, I'm not asking you to do anything except respect the law. So strengthen the legal protections, strengthen digital security. Thank you so much for the work that your group did on that. Oh, she wanted her group to stand up. Can you stand up, everybody in that group, please? Because you did such a fantastic job. Thank you. Oh, okay. Your group will stand. Let me finish with them. Then the group will stand. Okay. And then facilitate collective care. One of the things we've discovered is if you tell people, when we go out to march, when we go out for a protest, go with confidence, because we have a group of lawyers here that's ready for when you get arrested. We have a group of doctors here. Their job is not to be on the street, it is to be ready to move in case you get hurt. So this, having a network for collective care, all of a sudden people are like, you know what, I think I can do it. I think I can go out for that march. Because you've trained them, you've built the system where people kind of feel like, I'm going to go out there, I'm going to get beaten by the police, I'm going to get arrested, and I'll be by myself. So building the system for collective care that ensures that we are taking care of our people, you know? So this group did a really fantastic job, and I just want to go on that part of in case, because I follow my Nigerian sisters and friends, and so my timeline gets polluted with also the terrible things that happen here. You know, people getting arrested, people getting, don't forget the psychological care. Don't forget the psychological, arrest is trauma. even if you only spend a few hours, even if you don't spend the night, talk less of if you spend weeks and months. It's trauma. So don't forget that aspect. As we have the doctors for the care in the moment, let's not forget the doctors, the psychologists for the care in the longer term. And I have a final one to add to your group. Rest. Rest. Activism is tough. So from time to time in your movement, when you sense that somebody is, the thing is weighing on them, it's so difficult, the fight is heavy, call that person and say, you know what, you are taking a week off. You are taking a week of rest. We must also take care of ourselves as we go through the process. I'm talking to myself as I'm saying that. So thank you so much, Group 4. You did a wonderful, wonderful job. Group 1, please stand up. Please have them stand up. A co-facilitator. All right, great. Thank you. Please give them a big hand. The groups have come up with wonderful work so far. Our next group, where do I have? Okay, you're ready? All right.
Okay, thank you so much. All protocols duly observed. My name is Dalhatu Abubakar Iya, class of 2023. 2023, are you here? All right, thank you. I want to appreciate the thematic lab, all the committee members, everybody, and under the able leadership of Ms. Arinola. Thank you so much, ma. I'm not seeing Miss Arinola. Where? Okay, thank you. The co-moderator is Akinfolari Akintayo. This is thematic lab 3, and of course our rapporteurs, we have Hassana Suleiman and Dolabo Obafumi. Rapporteurs, you guys did great yesterday. Thank you. And without forgetting, of course, okay, our resource persons, Mr. Ibrahima Daini. I hope I'm able to pronounce it well now. Okay, he is also SPPG Senegal program manager. Thank you so much for what you did yesterday, your contributions. We also have with us Honorable Fatoumata Njai. I have not seen her this morning. Oh, thank you, thank you. Of course, member of the National Assembly of the Gambia and Pan-African Parliament representative. Thank you for your words yesterday. We also have Mr. Alvadas Kenye. Am I correct? Okay, thank you. Also, Secretary for Political Perspective at Cameroon People's Party and also leader of Stand Up for Cameroon Movement. Thank you so much, sir. Our points, thematic lab 3, of course, safeguarding election integrity. Before then, since I have 5 minutes, reflection back to 2024, where we discussed strengthening electoral integrity and transparency. The points mentioned then were fostering independence within electoral management bodies and for the judiciary to maintain impartiality and credibility in the electoral process. We also look at strengthening political parties. Of course, a robust party system can lead to genuine competition. And also, lastly, in last year's conference, leverage technology for democratic engagement. Then, this year, we agreed, we discussed, we pointed out through the help of our 3 resource persons to have 3 concrete actions that could be implemented by citizen movement and the African Conference to ensure electoral integrity. The first one is establish working groups that are in favor of transparent electoral process. That is very important. And what action do we need to take? We have to collaborate, or collaboration between political actors, strive for an open dialogue to achieve one front. A case study of Senegal, where the president was impeached, as it was established yesterday. Also, solidarity between African countries on the fight for free and fair electoral process among African nations. And why should we do that, ladies and gentlemen? If we fail to do that, if we fail to participate, we, the citizens, in all these electoral processes, we are not going to have free and fair election if we fail to participate. And how do we do that? Through a reliable and trustworthy electoral system. Our political parties and other bodies need to achieve a consensual system, and also we should encourage ourselves to uphold the rule of law. Number 2, action, double verification system to be in place for verifying information credibility. Of course, we have to establish a VAR, just like most of us that watch football, we have a free, right? So we should encourage to establish VAR that monitors information. And of course, our brother from Senegal gave us the case study. Which action should we take? Clear research on information shared, and also call out for misinformation. Why do we need to do that? Misinformation on the credibility of electoral processes give those people whom we do not want the leverage or the capacity to rule us. Any information that is not being verified, it gives other people leverage over us. The last one is active engagement with civil system. Which action should we take? Political education amongst the youth. I've been in the youth space for 17 years straight, consistently. So my elder sister and mother and grandmother, I'm still looking for her. She said something about the president of WASH. Please, where are you? Oh, thank you. So I believe we are going to meet later, because I've been engaged in youth activism for the past 17 years. So I think we are going to collaborate more to do wonders in terms of that aspect. So why should we educate the youth? Little or no representation of young people in electoral system is what gives people that are 18, 90 to continue to rule us in our African countries. How do we do that? Yes, most countries have passed law that we should engage the youth, but is it effective? Is it effective, distinguished ladies and gentlemen? So how do we make it effective? By continued participation, engagement, enlightenment, sensitization. In conclusion, ladies and gentlemen, elections remain the cornerstone of democracy in Africa, but their legitimacy is under pressure for manipulation, disinformation, weak institutions, and declining public trust. Cases of credible elections on the continent, for example, Botswana, Cape Verde, Zambia, Senegal, demonstrate that integrity is possible. And also in Nigeria, we believe it is very possible, but fragile, of course. Civil society groups, media, and new technologies are playing an increasing role in oversight and transparency. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, this is our 3 key action points on safeguarding election integrity. I remain El-Haj Abubakar Iya. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. So our group working on electoral integrity. In French, we say, c'est là où le bas blesse. That this is where it falls apart. We had the idea of elections, go for campaign, who is the candidate, and all of that stuff is nice. But if we do not have electoral integrity, elections that actually enable the people's voice to be heard, we are going nowhere. Again, in French, we say, on court dans le sac, meaning we are running inside a bag. We are expending a lot of energy, but there's somebody who holds the head of the bag and we are not going anywhere. So the group has done a fantastic job in letting us know, one, we must fight disinformation. Clear, okay? Because we always have ruling parties, I'm looking at my Kenyan friends, who, when the people are fed up and they go down to the street, what does the ruling party say? You people, what are you doing in the street? Why don't you wait for elections and come and come and express yourselves there? Okay? Yeah, the election is a bag. They are holding the bag, and they say, why don't you get inside the bag? Why don't you wait for elections? So we have to be careful about that discourse, and challenge and say, your election does not have integrity. You want me to enter the electoral process? And that was their second point in the group. Reform. Reform. And many times, I wish we had time to go through the Senegalese story, because people are looking at Senegal today or in the last couple of years. These guys have been fighting for decades. They've won their democracy inch by inch by inch. And I remember when they were fighting for electoral reform, so that they don't have a perfect election, but they have a fairly good one. Their fight was to stop Macky Sall from presenting himself again, but their fight was not about how good the election is. They were fairly sure of themselves that if we get to election, we will be able to win. But that is not because Cameroonians think you did a magic wand. They often say, oh, let's just go like Senegal. And I'm like, my friend, you haven't done the work that Senegal has done. Years ago, other people, not the Pastefs, not the Yanama, and so fought for electoral integrity and were able to move on that. So it's thank you. It's very important to remember, because we are saying reform, reform, reform. If you have an autocratic government, reform does not come from writing them a nice letter and saying something is wrong with the electoral system, fix it. No, reform, of course, that's a starting point. You must write, you must go through the system, but you have to figure out ways to pressure. And that pressure is very often from the streets. That pressure is very often from the streets. So we must also learn to get reform out of the system. And then finally, as they said, when you feel like the election process is fairly good, we are not asking for perfect, because that's the other thing. People will say, you people are asking for perfect elections, even in America, even in so. No, we're not asking for perfect. We are asking for good enough to be credible. And they mentioned also that we have to engage, we have to protect, we have to use technology, we have to become active in the process to actually maintain that integrity. Did the group already stand up? Okay, please stand up as a group. Thank you very much. And now we are actually going to, we didn't even know this. I tell you, these online people this year, I think, please clap for them. Clap for the online people. Because they created their working group and they were busy working as we were working. How about that? All right. So over to you online. Can I see the name? Damaris. Okay.
Dunamis E. Adebayo.
Okay, E. Adebayo. That one I know how to
Good afternoon, everyone. I don't know if you can hear me.
Yes, we can. Very well.
But I can hear you very clearly.
We can hear you.
Can anyone hear me?
Yes, go ahead.
Anyone hear me?
Yes, go ahead.
Okay. Thank you very much once again. I appreciate this platform. It's a privilege we worked on. That's the thematic lab 2 under the coordination of Madame Sana Fasalai Jenima, okay, from Tunisia. Session focused on rights-based governance as the foundation of legitimacy. All right, so she opens up a session by reminding us that right-based governance must not be in abstraction. All right, we must sink it in that it is indeed a principle, and we must be willing to run with that consciousness, because any country that wants to enjoy, that wants to be sustained in democracy must understand what it means to communicating the rights of its citizen and how that can work with a sustainable, what do you call it, position, if you like, yeah? And so communication comes back in, that is to say that we cannot think of rights-based governance in abstraction. We must sink it in, that it's something we have to all work together. And she continued by saying, it must anchor on tangible improvements, first on the living standard, through progressive social, economic, and cultural policies. So we're going to come back into policy. That is to say that it's not just going to be something that someone thinks of himself. It must be institutionalized, yeah? And she also says we are encouraged to have it stand on these tripartite notions of accountability, social justice, and active participation. By the way, she's the president of Women and Leadership in Tunisia, an NGO that she formed in 2011. And one of the first questions I was willing to ask her was, by the way, I followed the 2011, if you like, revolution in Tunisia. I was doing my master's at the time. And I predicted that there was going to be a revolution. Yeah. And this was as a result of what happened. And I asked her, I said, what exactly influenced you during that session, that period, very boisterous period of thinking about bringing persons, women particularly, into leadership? What influenced your vocal intention, particularly towards women? And she said that's part of what it means to having rights-based governance. They were willing to push. So yes, that word is coming up again, like the coordinator and the facilitator has been saying. We're going to come back to the place of pushing and ensuring that our voices are heard. Yeah? But we also must ensure that we're ethical enough to understanding accountability, to understanding social justice, and to understanding how we can participate, we can be part of the reform that we're talking about. Yeah? And then she highlighted, because we cannot pretend in Africa that we've arrived there yet, not yet. Just like the facilitator has also been saying, we're not particularly talking about 100% as it is right now. Not that we are above that, no. What we are saying is we hope to get there with what we have. So yeah, she talked about, she highlighted the challenges we've faced in Africa particularly, but she said we refuse to be let down by all of those. Lack of judicial independence, institutional weaknesses, and all of those in the different countries, particularly in our continent, balancing rights, participation, and all of those. But she says we're going to have to come conscientiously to the place of being just, being democratic, and having the desire to being part of it. So it's not something we speak. That's why she opened by saying it's not an abstraction. It's not a wishful thinking. It's not something we sit aloof and we hope that some food soldiers will run on our behalf. We must be willing, even those who are running, we must make sure they know that they have backing, they get backing. All right, so one question that came up about about right-based governance is, how do we manage that with the complications, if you like, that Africa has been faced by, particularly with culture? Yeah, how do we manage the role of culture? And I'm happy because the first presenter touched on that. The question came from one of us who said, how do you fight against these setbacks? How do you fight against multiplicity of culture? That's mirroring my own context, for instance, Nigeria. And I like the response of Madam Jenima. She says reinforcement. All right, so that was a formidable take home for me yesterday. Reinforcement, that is to say, amidst the setbacks, in spite of the setback, you make up your mind to ensuring that it doesn't put you there, right? The setback should get it to be more strategic. In the end, you must be willing to reinforce. That is to say, it's not you. Reinforcement cannot be done in isolation. You're going to have to tap people along, right minds, by the way, yeah, and you are able to progress. So summarily, we're just going to pitch our tent with what I said before. We're going to scale back to that a little bit, talking about we also, it begins with us. The rights, you must know that there are rights that you must benefit from. And I thank God for the facilitator. She talked about the psychological contract, the social contract, what my country owes me. That's the rights. The right of governance, the right of having right governance, right? I have that benefit. I have to benefit that from my country, and I must not sit aloof thinking that the government will do that by themselves without me, maybe reminding them, if you like, or ensuring that they don't forget what they owe me as a citizen. And I'm speaking for my people in Nigeria. So I don't know, I think I have to just stop there, but like the coordinator said, we must communicate values, and then it must be translated into working reforms. It's not an abstraction. I ran with that and I'm still running with it. It is active, so we must all be included. Thank you very much.
All right.
Thank you very much.
Adebayo, you have represented your group. You have represented us as women. You have represented Nigeria. You have represented Africa. We are so impressed in the room by your energy, by the thoughtfulness of the work that you have done as a group. And I have a special request. You so impressed us in the hall that the founder herself called me over and said, please ask her to introduce herself well, so that we get a clear idea of who this lady is. Did we just lose her? Adebayo, are you still there? She's talking.
Yes, ma'am, I'm here.
Okay,
my name is Juname Adebayo. I'm a cross-cultural consultant. I consult for organizations who want to expand into Francophone countries because my first degree, BA French, Obafemi Awolowo University. My first master's experience of African literature, Obafemi Awolowo University. And then I transited into banking for a couple of years, half a decade, almost half a decade to be precise. And then I moved to the UK by the grace of God for international human resource management, where my title came from, cross-culture, because my university adopted and employed me to integrate French students into the English culture and how to study and make the best of their skills. So upon return to Nigeria, I adopted the title and I've been running with it. So yes, I speak French. I worked in Francophone countries. And right now, I'm a student at the Citadel School of Government. I'm still going to come back to SPPG.
Okay.
I wanted to be in SPPG for a long time, but I had my plate full. But now I'm back fully into governance by the grace of God. Thank you so much, Mommy Obi. I'm
Thank
hoping
you.
that I'm definitely going to join the next cohort.
All
Also,
right. We are waiting for you, Adebayo. We're waiting for you. Fantastic. Thank you so much to all who are online and who contributed to that work and really helped us to see one, and thank you to Sana. I don't know if Sana is still connected. Sana is from Egypt, from Tunisia, from Tunisia. She was here last year, here with us in Abuja last year, and this year, still our inter-African problems. She could not get her visa in time, but very obviously, she helped to conduct the group online. So thank you very much. Their messages are clear. Rights-based governance is not an option. It is the foundation, and it is the guarantee of sustainability. So we must insist on our rights. We must get the reforms that protect those rights, and then the rights must be delivered in terms of services to our population. So very concrete, very nice. Now, we have a last group. We have one more group that was working here in the room. I think it's group 3, if I'm not mistaken. 4. Okay. Oh, it's group 2. Yes, they worked on the same theme. Can we have the report back from group 2? And as group 2 comes up, please, I want you to think through. Can I not have music? Thank you. So as group 2 comes up, well, we want you to think through, because we're going to take 2 students, SPPG students, and we're going to take 2 of our international guests who will tell us each in 1 minute their commitment. You, at your level, after having listened yesterday and today, what are you going to change? What are you going to strengthen? What are you going to stop doing? What is your own commitment? So think about it, because after group 4, we'll take 2 hands each, students and international guests.
Thank you so much. Good afternoon, colleagues. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Emmanuel, and I'm representing Thematic Lab 2. And we had a discourse on right-based governance as a foundation of legitimacy. First of all, we wanted to understand if people or citizens knew their rights. Because if they didn't understand their rights, there would be nothing for them to demand for or advocate for. So we discussed, and we realized that that was a particular problem. If you don't know your right, there's nothing you can demand for or advocate for. And we had a proposed solution to that, which is sensitization. We had a discourse around sensitizing the leaders of tomorrow, which are the youth. And we had a reflection on the previous election, 2023, how via the internet we had a lot of discourse around using Beaver and the electronic process for voting. At the end of the day, that was not a reflection of what happened on ground, and this caused a lot of problems. And we had a discourse around election legitimacy, which spoke to results of election not being a reflection of the will of the people. So in that way, you have trampled on the rights of the citizens. And some of the action steps in that regard would be to establish independent electoral commissions that are not influenced by the political elite or other external powers. We also spoke to how to manage the differences between tribes, gender, and religion. Also to educate and communicate via grassroots projects. And the action steps in that regard will be to acknowledge that ethnic power sharing models reduce tensions, but also entrench divisions, and also leads to transition from temporary balancing to inclusive governance. And what factors have helped, part of the questions we also spoke to, will be what factors have helped citizen movement to defend and expand political rights. Some of the factors would be to leverage technology, or we had Madam Evelyn speak to this, create youth awareness, to communicate clear message, and to operate on shared interest. And we looked at particular stakeholders that were responsible for this. This will be the youth. As we all know, it's regular. Africa has the youngest and growing population, and they are the human resource, the most important elements that we need to invest in to drive every other sector of the society, be it the capital resource, the human resource, the raw materials, because without this youth, there will be nobody to actually work on these particular elements that speaks to nation building across the state of Africa. Yeah, so I think that's a brief of what we had discussed yesterday. Thank you very much.
So this group, the main thing I heard, they worked very much along the lines as the group online, but they brought together something from one of the other groups. I think it was the first one and perhaps the second, which is the education on rights. For people to defend their rights, to go out and protest, they must first of all know that they have a right. And so we must not take that for granted. I think some of us as activists do take that for granted because we know our rights and we know that everybody is supposed to have that right. But please don't forget that we have built countries, we have built cultures for decades where when people enter a government office, they enter with a lot of fear, a lot of submissiveness, and begging somebody to do them a favor. They don't know that they pay that person. They don't know that the person in the administration is paid by them, and that the service they are coming for is their right. We've built this culture for the last 65 years for most of us since independence, and we need to do the education, do the work, so that citizens know their rights. That is step one to being able to defend the right and to get it enshrined in reform and systems. Great. Can we give a hand again to that last group? And can we have the group stand up? Are there other members of the group around? All right. Okay. Great, great. Thank you so much. So, I think, Madam CEO, I'm looking at you. Have we done our job? Oh, thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. We have done our job, thank you. We've done our job, which was to think about the situation in Africa, not in terms of describing the problem, we know the problem, but in terms of what are some good examples. Focus on those who are doing it. Get experience, get knowledge from the others, share experiences, and think about how we move ahead. So, since we've done that job, I want to, as I said, do I have 2 students who have commitment? Yes, ma'am, please. Yes, with the glasses. Yes, please come to the front. Is she the only student? Okay, there's a gentleman. Oh, sorry, let me go here because these people are working very, very hard. So please come. And they've had very little opportunity. Please come to the front. So I have 2 students, and I'm very happy. See, there are a lot of hands, eh? So just so you know that the students are thinking about this and making commitments. There's stairs over this way. Okay? So please come and tell us in just 1 minute, what is your commitment after what you've heard yesterday and today? Tell us your name and the SPPG class.
Okay, thank you. Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Kosisochukwu Annie, and I am part of the 2025 cohort. And I would say one thing I'll do from now on is to make sure I always lend my voice, because I was in group 4, and Madam Benjamin said the first time she was arrested by the government, in 15 minutes, there was a huge crowd in front of the prison. And that was why she was released that same day, because they know that this person has people. So they know not to mess with her. So one thing she said we should put in front of ourselves is the humans in human rights. So we would not say, oh, this is Hausa people issue, so it's not killing in my part of the country, so I don't care. Or this is the Yoruba people activists, so I don't care. So we should always make sure to stand on business and lend our voice, because they know that when we're not talking about it, when we don't care, they'll keep doing what they're doing. But if we put our fear aside and lend our voice in the ways we can, if it's online, if it's by funding, if it's by mobilization, in whatever way we can, we should always make sure to lend our voice. Like she said, collective care. We can also have that collective effort to always be there. Thank you.
Right. Fantastic. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Ma. My name is Duke Olorin, and I'm class of 2025. My group, we had thank you. My group, we actually ran a program called the STAR Project. STAR Project is supporting the advancements of rights for children in Nigeria. And we focused on educating children about their rights. We realized firsthand that we ourselves did not know the rights when we started the program, and we had to learn the rights to be able to teach the rights. So we believe that by being role models who model these rights not only in public but within their homes, we can teach children to not fear their rights, fear their adults, and challenge authority. We also learned from our guests from Senegal on how to negotiate, teach children negotiation. When they go to their homes and they learn new things, how can they bring that question to the parents and negotiate, saying, Mom, we learned about our rights, this is how it's going to affect our future. So we can start to change what it seems to be a norm in our society. We have to challenge authority. So we talk about bravery and teaching children to challenge authority in bravery and conversations while understanding their rights.
Thank you so much. Concrete examples of what we can do with what we've learned. Let me come to the internationals. Do we have people who have changed or who are thinking, what do I commit to? Yes, Ibrahim, I know I can always count on you. And the second person? I have Shai. Yes, please, Suleiman, please come. Please come. Okay, because of that, do I have an international? Yes, Dienaba. Super.
Can I go ladies first?
Yes, you can. They want you to stand on the
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Hi again.
Hello.
Yeah, it's so nice to be here and so nice to hear all those voices speaking for democracy in Africa. And I can tell you that it has been for me a wonderful journey. I came here as someone who is engaged in politics, but I've learned so much, especially from you activists. I've learned that we really need you, even though we are on the political ground, but we do need you. And I want to say something about securing elections also. You said it earlier. I think election day is a very important day. And we political parties can join our forces with activists and citizens to secure election day. Make sure that every vote counts. And we, PASTEF, we did that. It is an experience that I can tell. We made sure that our youngsters boys, girls, they woke up early on election day. They had in mind that they were going to put up a fight, a very important fight, which was to make sure that every vote would effectively count. And also, they made sure that no cheating could be done. I mean, today everybody has a mobile phone, so everybody can show what is going on, especially on remote locations. If ever there is something abnormal going on, they can effectively show what is going on. And we don't need to wait for the government to bring us its results. Yeah, we have our own results, so we can make sure that the government is not lying, because they often do lie, don't we, to opposition parties. And I think that is something important that you should keep in mind. And just to say that I am going back home really happy, really being, empowered, and feeling that we have done a lot, but there's also so much more to be done. And you Nigerians are really, a democratic force in Africa, and I need also to take back home some of your groove. You know, you guys are so nice. I like how you are, giving us strength as women, and I need to take back that to Senegal, and thank you so much.
Thank you, Jenaba. Okay.
Merci. Thank you, Jenaba. Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
I will go straight to my new commitment. I don't know if you remember, Mrs. Ka, but last year we had a conversation about women's rights. And I remember a class we had in SPPG Senegal called Women's Rights Are Human Rights. And when I came here, the first thing I noticed, and I think everything in the room can notice, is the leadership of women we have here, whether it's from Nigeria, Cameroon, my sister Jainaba. So my new commitment is quite simple. I've just decided to turn myself into a feminist. So from now on, I will be always advocating, and thank you to our Honorable Njai who made us so proud.
Yes.
Thank you very much for CEO, Madame Alero. Thank you so much for Dr. Obi. And maybe my sister might not admit it, but we do have now a problem of feminine leadership in our new government. We do like women leadership. So we think we should get inspirations from what we have here, because we definitely understand that if our women are good and are doing well, Africa will do well as well. So thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. And that's a big step for Ibrahima, because what he's not telling you about our conversation, I gave him fire. But he went, and the first thing he did when he saw me, he said, I've taken action. I took action on the basis of our conversation. So, excellent. Thank you. Yes.
I would like to take back the floor, please,
Yes.
if you allow me, just to say a special thanks to you, Kawala, to Mama Obi and Olera, and also to our MP,
Yes.
and Dr. Frank also. I think, I'm sorry, I hope I'm not mistaking the names, but just, I'm so happy that you made me part of this big journey. Thank you so much.
Okay, Suleiman.
Eh bien, je suis le dernier à prendre la parole. J'espère que vous n'allez pas comprendre, mais tu vas traduire.
Je vais
D'accord.
traduire sans inquiétude.
Ok, c'est avec plaisir que j'ai été ici depuis ces 2 jours, que j'ai participé à ces échanges, que j'ai rencontré des personnes formidables. Et je dois dire que, on va dire, le Nigeria, c'est un peu chez moi, parce que c'est bizarre. Mon grand-père maternel était un Haoussa. Il a migré du Nigeria jusqu'à Ouagadougou. Il a rencontré, donc voilà. Et ma mère est donc Haoussa, mais je ne comprends pas. Je ne comprends pas, c'est dommage. Donc je suis un peu chez moi. Je suis né aussi, et puis j'ai fait mes premiers pas en Côte d'Ivoire.
Ok.
Et donc, avant de revenir dans mon pays, après le bac, etc. Donc, je suis plus ou moins
panafricaine.
Pan-African.
Voilà.
Okay, je traduis un peu avant que vous n'avancez. So he's just saying that he's very happy to be here. He feels very at home in Nigeria because his grandfather was from Nigeria, Hausa, and he went on his journeys, migrated, and so on, and got to Burkina and met a woman there and settled. And he's also saying that he grew up in Côte d'Ivoire, so he feels very Pan-African. Yeah.
Et voilà. Ce que je peux ajouter, c'est que malheureusement, nous, au Burkina Faso, après l'insurrection populaire, on est tombé dans une ère démocratique extraordinaire, beaucoup d'espérance, beaucoup d'espoir qui ont été gaspillés, vendangés en juste quelques années, et on est retombé dans une dictature, excusez-moi pour les fans d'Ibrahim, pire que celle de Blaise Compaoré. Et donc, quand j'écoute les échanges ici, je vois un peu le parcours que j'ai personnellement eu, que mon organisation Balestin a personnellement eu, que mon pays a connu ces 15 dernières années, et il y a un pincement au cœur. Mais c'est juste un pincement au cœur, parce qu'il y a aussi beaucoup d'espérance quand j'écoute, quand j'entends que les choses avancent, progressent au Nigeria, au Ghana, au Sénégal, au Botswana. Donc voilà, je repars d'ici avec beaucoup d'espérance et en me disant que à partir d'ici, je vais aussi pouvoir diffuser beaucoup de positivité à mes camarades au pays.
Thank you very much. So he says he's being here. He's been thinking about his country, Burkina, and the journey that they've had over the last 15 years. Some of where we are is where they were, and the people came out, they got rid of the dictator, they imposed democracy, they had a wonderful moment of democracy, and unfortunately, in the last couple of years, and he's apologizing again to Ibrahim's fans, they have fallen back into the worst type of autocracy, even worse than when they had the dictator Blaise Compaoré. But he says he's not just having these mixed feelings, he is also inspired by the energy, inspired in hearing the stories of how things are improving in Senegal, in Ghana, and in other places. So he's going home with energy, energy that he's going to give to others, positive energy about how we are fighting for democracy in Africa.
Et pour finir, je ne vais pas être trop long, j'aimerais inviter ceux qui ont le pouvoir, les capacités, les possibilités à établir un centre d'accueil pour les défenseurs de droits de nos pays, Niger, Burkina, Mali, qui auraient besoin donc de se mettre à l'abri pendant quelques temps pour fuir la répression. Je dis cela parce que c'est extrêmement important. J'ai été au Sénégal où quand j'étais distrait, Y'en a marre, où on m'a fait visiter Caribou,
Oui.
et on m'a dit que nous avons la possibilité de bénéficier donc de sécurité et de protection du refuge à Caribou. Dernièrement, j'étais au Ghana. J'ai visité le centre, le Safe House d'une organisation qu'on appelle WASHIC de Anas. Et j'ai vu la photo de madame dans le refuge.
Okay.
Le refuge s'appelle Steve Biko.
Okay.
Et quand je l'ai vu ici, je me suis dit, voilà, j'ai en face de moi quelqu'un qui a été remarquable par ses actions parce que je l'ai vu sur un mur avec d'autres personnalités fortes de l'Afrique. Et ça aussi, c'est un plaisir pour moi.
Thank you. So, Suleiman is saying the final thing he's going to say is that for those of us in our various countries who have the possibility, we should take seriously this suggestion of creating a safe haven, creating a refuge for activists, especially now from Niger, Burkina, Mali, and Guinea, all of the military dictatorships. Because he said he went to Senegal, Yanama, the organization that MoMA represents. They have a house called Caribou, where they welcome activists who are in danger in their own countries. And he said he went to Ghana and he visited a refuge which is run by Anas. Anas is a famous Ghanaian, he's a journalist, right? The one with the covered face. Yes, you all know Anas. And he said that a striking thing for him is that on the wall in Anas's refuge is a picture of Dr. Obi, along with other personalities in Africa who are fighting for democracy. And so when he got here and he saw her in person, he's like, okay, this is the real deal, because because she's on that wall over there.
Ça sera tout. Merci beaucoup.
Okay. Ernest, I would like us to stand for a minute and give a clap of solidarity and think about where, you know, some of us have done various things, but our colleague, Usman Lakwande, who is in the same organization as Suleiman, and who was at Africa Conference 1 and Africa Conference 2. I asked Suleiman yesterday at lunch and said, surely you have some information about where he is and how he's doing. And he said there is none. There is just absolutely none. And I remember the first Africa Conference, Usman said almost exactly what you said. When he came here, he told me, I am so encouraged. He said, I had kind of given up on democracy, given what our country has been through. We are still in the organization, he said, but I was kind of in a place of depression. And he came to the Africa Conference and he was like, wow, you have, you know, I've regained in energy, I've regained in, you know, my enthusiasm, and I can go back and I can fight again. I happened to be going to Burkina like 10 days after, and we met in Burkina, and Usman gave me a beautiful Faso Damfani, the Burkinabe cloth, to say thank you for the Africa Conference. So please, let us stand up. I don't want to have any kind of minute of silence because we don't know where he is, but let us have a clap of solidarity and strength that he can. Thank you. Thank you, and thank you so much, Suleiman. I'm sorry. Thank you so much, Suleiman, for being Usman's voice, because we have invited Suleiman to several meetings, and he is still in Burkina. I worry for him, but he has enormous strength, and he continues to fight the fight. Thank you. All right, so we have got great work, we have gotten great commitments, and I think the only thing left for me to do is to hand over to is to hand over after all the hugs and kisses. You know what? Oh, okay, so I want to make a comment about what Dienaba said. And it's really true. You know, you all know that Nigerians have a tough reputation internationally. People hear Nigerians and they're like, oh. So, people are always surprised when they arrive in Nigeria, and even me, who comes here fairly often, this time at the airport again, I was like, I always forget how nice Nigerians are. Almost at least 4 of the international guests have made me that remark, to say, you're so polite, you're so friendly, you're so encouraging. So please, yes, give yourselves a hand. Give yourselves a hand. You are representing wonderfully. You are our giants. We love you. And in spaces like this is where I feel like the real Nigeria is. Thanks a lot. And I'm going to hand over now to 1, 2, 3. Okay. Our CEO, please. Please. Our continental CEO. I still remember a coffee break somewhere in Accra where the brain started percolating that, can we not?
And we did. Thank you, Ka. Give it to her, please. A resounding thank you, Ka. You're amazing. Faculty member of the SPPG, and she's on the global faculty. Thank you so much. That's been a wonderful day and a half. You've done exceedingly well. Wow, this Africa conference. I'm just realizing, I'm inviting Tito. I'm going outside the boxes. Tito and Bumi, the coordinating co-chairs for WSG 1 and 2. Engage empowered citizens, and reforming the electoral system, constitution. This is about fixed politics. Remember, we said this is the first time that fixed politics is hosting this conference. And like Carl said, they were at every meeting. I missed some, but they were at every one. I don't get surprised. Thank you. And no, because I mentioned this is Tito, and this is. I'm going to let them say just anything that comes. Just maybe answer what some of Carl's. This was your second experience. Her first experience. How did you? Yes. How did you find?
I think yesterday was absolutely amazing. Starting from the biblical, like I like to say, chair, with his very endearing speech where he reminded us about democracy. Because sometimes you forget that there was a life before colonialism. The same way Americans forget that there was a life before slavery, you know. And when I read more and more about how great Africa was and the fact that we had one of the first universities in the world, but nobody remembers, right? And I just want to be, I'm just really grateful to Dr. Obi for bringing us all together. And it just goes to show the resilience. You know, when I think about Dr. Obi's journey, about, you know, how not getting the presidency, and this is the result. You know, it's amazing. So thank you, everyone, and I know it's going to be an amazing experience. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you very much. For me, it has really been moving. Just seeing everyone across Africa, you know. But one of the key things I would say, and apologies to the men, is the inspiration of the women. I'm going to tell you, it's been amazing to me, you know. Before now, I've been more in the private sector, running banks and so on. So yes, in fact, the reason why I went into finance was development finance, so to help people, because I just felt government wasn't going to do much. Let's create private sector organizations, microfinance, to help poor people. Impacts. We need to change government. But, I've always taken the back seat, but now I've retired. I'm coming here today, I'm going to tell you, my commitment is to be more active in politics. That is what I took away from this. And really it's been because of the women. I look at you all and say, wow, if they can do it, what am I doing? So I need to do that. So thank you.
Wow, fantastic. You're going to stay on. I'm now going to invite my sister, my friend, nation builder, par excellence, Dr. Obiageli Ezekwesili. Thank you, sis. And immediately after, to me standing, I'm going to invite Mr. Frank Uweke Jr., the chair of Fixed Politics. And we're now entering into the closing session, so please sit. It's so wonderful seeing you all stand up. Thank you for, wow, that was nice, wasn't it? Thank you, thank you. Yeah, that was beautiful. Thank you. So I'm now going to invite Mr. Frank Uweke to say a few words, his experience, and anything else that is on his heart, mind, and then we'll bring it to a close with Dr. Obi making the closing remarks.
All right, thank you. Good afternoon, ladies. It's already afternoon. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. If you don't answer me, I'll start singing. So please, better answer me. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. That's better. You just saved your ears from a very awful voice that you have heard. But again, let me say how amazing the entire conference has been. And what a great pleasure it has been to be here. And, sitting down, listening to the insights, to the possibilities, just to everything that can be. And let me also add modestly to the progress we're making. Sometimes I've gotten emotional. And even as I stand here now, a lot of emotion swells in my heart and in my stomach. But I'm just going to remind us something that I have said to a few people who are close to me time and time again. I used to be the Director General of the Nigerian Economic Summit Group, a private sector-led think tank. And our mandate was to advocate for the adoption of policies conducive to good governance. That was our mandate. And for 5 years, post the ministership, I devoted my time to trying to help the private sector see why that partnership was critical. Then also trying to help the government, which I used to be, see why the private sector are very important partners in nation building. I left there in 2014. And sometimes I look back and I'm asking myself, what was all that exertion for? I'm truly asking myself, was it worth my time? Was it worth my trouble? I'm asking myself, what impact have we made, are we making? Of course, the group is still there. But in 3 years, I haven't attended the annual summit. Another one is due. I'm not so sure I'm going to go there. Because I'm asking myself, what is new? And so, I'm asking you this afternoon. This is our third conference. And I'm asking you, ladies and gentlemen, what is new? When we return next year, what are we coming back with? What is going to be the situation in Senegal? What will be the situation in the Gambia? What's going to be the situation in Burkina Faso? What's going to be happening in Niger Republic or in Tunisia? What's going to be happening in Egypt? These are the things that I'm sitting down and I'm reflecting. The very inspiring commentaries, the insights, it's fantastic. But why is it that even as we are talking, we do not see the visible differences in our countries? Not visible enough, maybe not as visible as we want it to be, not as quick as we want it to be. So one thing is clear to me always. A room filled with extremely talented people, extremely educated people, highly exposed people, very passionate. So the issue of Africa's talent is not in contention. When we go abroad else everywhere, we succeed, we excel, we're celebrated. But our homes, our nations are in disrepair, our nations are in crisis, our leadership is mediocre, and the progress is not enough. So my challenge, ladies and gentlemen, is I'm very delighted to meet everybody. I like the conversations. But what is going to happen? Are you going to register to vote? Will you register to vote? Are you going to encourage others to vote? Are you going to go to public hearings when your legislatures call for public hearings? When you have voted, are you going to stand and defend your votes? Will you do that? My closing remark, or remarks, is that it's not the words that will pull us out of where we are. It's not the words that will transform our continent. It is the actions that we take, that we must take, that will defend, that will help us to get out of the leadership morass, the economic morass, the security morass, everything that plagues us. And so, even in my despondency, I always remember that all of us, as we have lives, we're able to breathe, we have a responsibility for hope. We have a responsibility for hope. We cannot give up hope. We must remain hopeful, but even in remaining hopeful, we must take action. So thank you for coming. Thank you for the insights. And Africa will rise. Thank you.
I'm a bridge, an ambassador, and I'm going to be a voice over the next 3 minutes. The bridge between the chair, Fix Politics, and the founder, Fix Politics. So I know, sis, you're getting ready to make the closing remarks. No pressure. 2 days ago, I woke up and I wrote a poem for this conference. So I'm going to read out the poem. Century? Oh, give me sound. Oh, thank you. Okay. And it's the roar. Are you getting ready, Duke? Join us so that there are 2 men on the stage. On the walk today, he helped me to roar. And I like the sound that he made. So you're joining me. And I think you may actually do it. Yes. I'm going to ask you, after I finish, to do it. Because you know how to. The first step, the second step. Okay, good. And it's called ROAR. R-O-A-R, Reformers of Africa Rising. We are a people rising, a people bold and courageous, a people fearless and anointed, a people diligent and consistent, a people ready to face truth and rescue a continent. No more shall our continent be known as a dark continent. No more will we be pitied and ridiculed. No more will we wait for others to come from across the ocean to save us. We, you, are the rescuers, the patriots, the solution providers, the sound forgers. We are the ones Africa has been waiting for. Can you not hear the cry of the people, the wailing of children, and their mothers weeping because of hunger, pain, grief, and death? It is time. The reformers of Africa are rising, and they are in this room. All of you in this room. They are ready. Are you ready? Ready to save, ready to transform the destinies of a people, of a nation, and a continent. Arise and take your place. Arise and release the sound, the new sound of fixed politics. The sound of courage, the sound of change, the sound of nation building, the sound of victory. Are you ready? If you are, I'm going to ask you to arise and release the sound that you can hear. And I'm going to invite Duke of the class of 2025.
Let's go. If you have anything in your throat, clear it out. Get ready, get ready, get ready. Bring your inner roar out. On the count of 1. On the count of 2. Posture. Thank you, sir. Posture, everybody, posture. Stay gallant, stretch out. Hold your position. Use your space. Check the elbow length. Are you ready? Are you ready? From within, out of your belly. 1, 2, 3.
I am certain that there are no pussycats in this room. I really want to thank every one of you for being at the Africa Conference 2025. Yes, it's okay to clap. Africa Conference came out of the Fixed Politics Initiative. Actually, I'll step back on that. Africa Conference came out of the SPPG. The SPPG came out of the Fixed Politics. Fixed Politics came out of the cry of my heart when I looked at the state of governance of our country and our continent as one who had worked locally, continentally, and globally. And I often had to be in the room where our continent or my country would be discussed in terms that should break all our hearts. Even those with a racist theory were no longer afraid to talk of our continent as though failure is our destiny. And the pain of that got to the point where I, who was known to hate politics, or anything associated